Hi everyone, welcome to Romance Stories. Before watching the video, please give me a like and subscribe. Thank you very much. The Liu family has a daughter who, due to an unfortunate accident, was left with the mental capacity of a 5 or 6-year-old child. The man she loved most wasted no time in breaking their engagement. At the same time, my father's business went bankrupt. Left with no other choice, I had to marry this wealthy heiress. On the wedding night, to save face, the family had the younger sister, Celine, stand in for the bride during the ceremony. By the time the wedding festivities finally ended, dawn was already breaking. Reeking of alcohol, Celine leaned against the wall and flashed a malicious smile at me. "Hey, brother-in-law, I heard you're in great shape. If my sister doesn't cooperate tonight, feel free to find me anytime." I gave her a cold glare before turning away and entering the bedroom. Inside, the light was dim, save for a single-floor lamp by the bedside. On the bed sat a girl who looked incredibly small, currently huddled under the blankets. Her dark eyes were wide, looking at me with clear confusion and fear. I stood still, observing her for a moment. She had fair, smooth skin, soft features, and eyes as clear as a baby rabbit's. This was not a face I could ever bring myself to hate. Perhaps my gaze was too intense, because she gripped the edge of the quilt tightly and swallowed hard her nervousness. "Mister, can you please not eat me? Who told you I was going to eat you?" I frowned. "My sister said you were going to eat me all up tonight." I never had any intention of touching her. I wasn't cruel enough to make a move on someone with the mind of a young child. I walked to the edge of the bed and leaned down to stroke her hair. It was a bit messy, but it felt softer than I expected. "As long as you're good, I won't eat you." She looked up at me, the warm yellow lamplight bathing her face. Her gaze softened instantly. "Mister, I'll be very good." I patted her head. "Good girl. Come here. I'll find you something else to wear." She peeked at me timidly before obediently crawling out from under the covers. I looked at the high heels on her feet and the tight, cluttered dress she was wearing, and I couldn't help but scowl at the discomfort she must be in. I knelt down, removed her heels, and replaced them with my own slippers. The oversized black slippers made her pale, delicate feet look even smaller and more fragile. Feeling a bit awkward, I turned away and rummaged through the wardrobe for a long time. Finally, I found a silk nightgown that was just long enough to reach her thighs. Unlike me, Lily's body was ice cold, like a block of ice in the middle of summer, a sensation that made one subconsciously want to touch more. "Mister," she whispered, her voice low and husky, carrying a faint, ambiguous undertone. She lowered her head, leaning close to my neck. "The way you smell, it's very special," she said. Her breath brushed lightly against my face, causing an uncontrollable flush to creep up my cheeks. I hurriedly switched on the bedside lamp. The bright light instantly shattered the murky, suggestive atmosphere in the room. Lily lowered her eyes, following my movements. "Why is your face so red?" "It's just because I drank a bit too much." I turned off the light and decisively pulled the covers up. "Go to sleep." The next morning, I slept until I woke up naturally. After changing, I went downstairs for breakfast. At the dining table, Celine was leaning back in her chair, lazily pointing at a bowl of porridge in front of her with an amused expression. Lily was looking at her with expectant eyes. The table was overflowing with delicious food, but she didn't dare touch a thing. "Bark like a dog, and I'll let you eat," Celine said coldly. Lily hesitated, but Celine barked an order. "Are you going to do it or not?" Her face darkened as she leaned forward. Lily recoiled instinctively, her eyes filled with terror, looking exactly like a frightened puppy. Finally, she lowered her head and whimpered a tiny woof, woof. Celine patted her cheek lightly. "Good girl, little doggy. Here's your food." In the next second, she slowly poured the scalding hot porridge directly over Lily's head. Tears welled up in Lily's eyes, and she bit her lip hard, but she didn't cry, move, or fight back. I couldn't stand it any longer. I dashed down the stairs and shoved Celine away. "You've gone too far." The porcelain bowl hit the floor and shattered into pieces. Lily's forehead was flushed red from the hot porridge. She clung tightly to my waist, her body trembling slightly as she sobbed. "Mister, it hurts. It's so hot." Behind me, Celine let out a mocking laugh and shrugged. My brother-in-law really is a saint." I didn't turn around. "Yeah, I'm a real saint, so you'd better watch yourself." After Celine left, Lily's eyes were red as she clutched the corner of my shirt, her voice trembling with anxiety. Mister, can you help me put on some medicine? I couldn't help but ask, does your sister always treat you like this? She nodded. Why don't you tell your father or your grandfather? Grandmother doesn't care about me, and it would break grandfather's heart if he knew. And your father? She simply lowered her head. I fell silent for a moment. Everyone knew that Lily's father, Howard, was a son-in-law who had married into the family and even took the Liu surname as his own. He had relied on women to climb the social ladder, earning him the scorn of the business world. My father, in particular, was the one who mocked him the most. Unexpectedly, after the death of Lily's mother 3 years ago, and with the grandfather getting on in years, Howard managed to seize power. He quickly moved his mistress and his illegitimate daughter, Celine, into the Liu household. Rumor had it that because he was looked down upon as a mere live-in son-in-law, Howard harbored a deep resentment and had no love for Lily or her mother. Still, Lily was his biological flesh and blood. I never expected his favoritism towards Celine to be this extreme. Mister, Lily tugged gently on my sleeve, her face full of pleading. Please don't tell grandfather, okay? It would make him too sad. My heart softened. Fine. The old man was frail now. Telling him likely wouldn't change anything anyway. After staying quietly at home for a month, Lily's burns had mostly healed. I prepared a few things and took her out shopping. Her clothes at home were truly unwearable. Her pajamas were excessively revealing, and her everyday wardrobe was shockingly sparse. Since she was now my wife, the least I could do was make sure she had decent clothes to wear. I had heard a lot about Lily's upbringing. They said that from a young age, Howard had treated her like a commodity to be groomed. She had to maintain a dignified appearance, wear light, ethereal makeup, and was forbidden from having personal hobbies, getting a job, or interacting with the opposite sex. She was raised to be a compliant doll, waiting for the day she could be traded for business resources. Truth be told, Lily and I weren't all that different. My mother, unaware of the truth, had become the other woman and gave birth to me. She raised me alone until I graduated high school. Finally, unable to afford my college tuition, she returned to my father so that I could have a better life. For years, she endured endless humiliation just so my father would acknowledge me. Finally, when I graduated, the opportunity to marry Lily arose. Only then did my father recognize me, on the condition that I marry her, have a child with her, and eventually take over the Liu family assets. Unfortunately for him, I inherited my mother's stubborn streak. I refused to lose, and I refused to be a puppet. I only agreed to marry Lily because her family's influence is a perfect stepping stone. Plus, marrying someone considered simple-minded meant she wouldn't interfere with my plans. It was perfect. At a roadside stall, she placed a pair of rabbit ear headbands on my head. Mister, buy this. It's so cute. Unable to resist her pouting, I gave in and bought them. Wearing the cheap rabbit ears and holding her hand, I led her into the stores to pick out some clothes. Her wardrobe was filled with nothing but stiff office wear and a few tattered, pitiful sets of pajamas. It seemed that after she fell ill, no one had bothered to buy her new clothes. While Lily was in the fitting room, my phone vibrated. It was my father. I frowned and answered. Dad, yeah, how was that simpleton girl doing? She's fine. Quite obedient. Good. Just focus on staying home and taking care of her for now. The sooner you have a child, the better. Remember to take her to see old Mr. Liu frequently. Don't let Howard's current posturing fool you. The real power is still held by that old man. You got that? I know, right? And don't get involved in the Liu family's petty squabbles. Keep your mouth shut. I paused for a moment. What did Howard say? None of your business. A pair of arms suddenly wrapped around my waist. A fluffy head rubbed against my neck, followed by a cooing voice. Mister, flustered, I hung up. Lily had changed into a short white dress that softly hugged her frame. Her long lashes cast shadows over her moist, docile eyes. Though she looked good in anything, this outfit stripped away the simpleton look, highlighting a pure, youthful sweetness instead. Perhaps because I was so used to schemes and calculations, facing eyes that clear made me feel a bit flustered. Mister, do I look pretty? She tugged at my shirt, snapping me back to reality. Very pretty. We'll take it. After we finished shopping, Lily was loaded down with bags. She stopped in front of a milk tea shop on the sidewalk, swallowing hard with a bashful look. I sighed. You want one? She nodded shyly. This little dummy certainly knew how to pick them. This shop was the busiest spot around. Wait for me here. Don't wander off, I instructed before joining the queue. I've never liked these kinds of things, let alone cramped crowds. Standing among the people, I felt a wave of irritation, thinking I should have just ordered delivery. Hey baby, let's get to know each other. A male voice came from behind me. No thank you, came Lily's soft, rejecting voice. Don't be like that. Give me your WeChat. I'll buy the milk tea. No need. Where are you touching? Don't touch me. Her voice rose several octaves. Immediately after, I heard the sound of a sharp slap. I turned around to see a thuggish man standing in front of Lily. He was snarling at her, giving her a hard shove that sent her tumbling to the ground. He shouted, "You dare slap me? You're just a pretty face, acting like you're worth something." I charged over instantly, grabbed his collar, and violently dragged him out of the crowd. The man was stunned for a second, then opened his mouth to curse me out. I didn't give him the chance. I punched him square in the nose. You think you're tough? I asked coldly. You want a WeChat ID? How about I call 500 of my brothers to give it to you all at once? He tried to say something, but I didn't give him an opening, landing punch after punch on his face. The man turned out to be nothing more than a paper tiger. After a few feeble attempts to fight back, he realized he was outmatched and immediately stopped, begging for mercy with a pathetic display. Big brother, please stop. My leg hurts so much. I think it's dislocated. Hearing that, I stopped, breathing heavily, and asked, where does it hurt? He whimpered in pain. I looked at the man and asked bluntly, how much? Covered in blood and grimacing, he named a figure, only a few thousand yuan. I didn't want any more trouble, so I paid him on the spot. At that moment, Lily was still sitting on the ground, biting her lip as she watched me. Mister, it hurts so much. I told you not to sit on the ground. You'll get your new clothes dirty, I said as I helped her up and brushed the dust off her outfit. I knelt down and checked her swollen, red ankle. It's all right. It's not too serious. Let me get you back to the car. I'll find some ice for you. With that, I picked her up in my arms, but I was met with her hazy, searching gaze. She wrapped her arms around my neck, her hair brushing against my chest as she leaned her head against my shoulder. Her voice was soft. Mister, will you always be this good to me? Maybe, I replied, though I felt a flicker of unease. In my plans for the future, there was no permanent place for her. She whispered against my shoulder, liar. My heart skipped a beat. Suddenly remembering something, I asked, who taught you to hit people? Grandfather did. He told me that when people bully me, I have to fight back. Then why don't you fight back when your sister bullies you? Because she's my sister. Lily lowered her eyes, her innocence making my heart ache for her. By the time I returned home, it was late afternoon. A Maybach was parked in front of the villa gates, and I instantly froze. At that moment, I was lugging a mountain of luxury shopping bags. Lily was obediently riding on my back, her clothes torn and stained, and her ankle visibly swollen. In this situation, no matter how you looked at it, I appear to be a villain mistreating an innocent girl. A man with a straight, tall silhouette stepped out of the car, dressed in a sharp suit and elegant glasses. His almond-shaped eyes looked at Lily with a gaze full of lingering affection. This must be Lily's white moonlight, her first love. Tristan. The two of them were originally engaged, but after Lily's car accident left her with the mind of a child, Tristan's family vehemently opposed the union, and the engagement was eventually broken. To save face, the Liu family pushed me in as a temporary replacement. The wedding had proceeded as scheduled, but if Lily hadn't had that accident, Tristan would undoubtedly be the man in her heart. Hello, Tristan said, glancing at me before his worried eyes landed back on Lily. Lily, are you all right? Hello, I replied, feeling a bit awkward as I patted Lily's shoulder. Do you want him to carry you? I was just a pawn in this game. I had no desire to get caught in the middle of their dramatic love-hate history. No, Lily said, tightening her grip on me. I only want you to carry me. Lily, are you hurt? Tristan asked again. Yeah, she sprained her ankle, I answered. Why don't you come in and sit for a while? I invited him, despite my internal reluctance. Tristan didn't stand on ceremony and followed us inside. In the living room, I grabbed a bottle of ice water and prepared to watch the scene unfold. Lily sat opposite me, and Tristan didn't hesitate to sit right next to her, his face etched with concern. "Lily, where did you get hurt?" he asked. "Bad man," she replied seriously. "Mister hit him and chased him away." "A bad man?" Tristan looked at me. "Yeah, I had a bit of a run-in with someone," I explained directly. Tristan ignored the fact that I was standing right there and reached out his pale hand to touch Lily's chin. "Does it hurt?" Lily instinctively recoiled, avoiding his hand, and lunged into my arms. "Doesn't hurt. If Mr. blows on it, it won't hurt anymore." Tristan's smile turned a bit cold as he looked at me. "Lily seems to like you quite a bit." "Yeah, she's very good." I stroked her hair. "Have you taken her for a checkup lately?" "Just yesterday," I replied. "The doctor said there's still a hematoma on her brain. The chances of recovery are very slim." "Oh," Tristan nodded, looking thoughtful. "Have Howard or the grandfather come to visit her?" "Not yet. You're the first person to visit her." I was about to compliment him on his loyalty, but Tristan simply nodded and stood up abruptly. "Well then, take good care of Lily. I have things to attend to. I won't disturb you two any longer." Lily and I saw Tristan to the door. As his car slowly pulled away, we both stood there at the entrance. Tristan's visit wasn't simple. It felt like he was testing the waters to see if she was actually recovering. I turned to look at her. Lily's expression was indifferent, and for a split second, a flash of coldness appeared in her eyes, completely different from her childlike demeanor a moment ago. "Lily," I called her name. She turned back, bowing her head to hide the sharpness in her gaze before hugging me. "Mister, I want to go rest." I supported her, as I thought, deeply. Although we had only lived together for a month, she had never used such baby talk like it hurts before. Just now, it seemed she had done it entirely on purpose. Moreover, I occasionally caught glimpses of a serious expression on her face. What was even more suspicious was how quickly that look vanished whenever she spotted me. Was Lily faking her condition? This hypothesis was difficult to verify, and frankly, I didn't have the luxury of time to investigate. At the moment, my priority was work. In the past, my father had kept a tight leash on me, fearing I might usurp my elder brother's inheritance. Consequently, I never had the chance to involve myself in the family business. However, I had secretly saved money and invested in a startup that was now operating steadily. Now that I had escaped those constraints, I absolutely had to focus on my career. This was also my initial reason for marrying Lily. I thought her being simple would make her easy to manage and that she wouldn't interfere with my business. But on my very first day at the office, I realized how wrong I was. Lily called me 10 times an hour. Her voice, thick with distress, kept asking if I didn't want her anymore. Even my business partner, Logan, couldn't take it anymore and eventually asked, "Leo, do you want to just bring her along?" Irritated, I turned off my phone. No need. Finally, I just blocked her number. The world was finally quiet. Logan was my university classmate and had a brilliant mind for business. Coming from a humble background, he was the classic underdog student. After graduation, I provided the seed capital for him to grow the company. He hadn't betrayed my trust. Everything was progressing smoothly. Since it was my first day on the job, I felt particularly energized. I stayed late, excitedly discussing expansion plans with Logan until 10 p.m. When I arrived home, the sky was pitch black. Under the faint light, I saw Lily sitting on a long bench in front of the villa, wearing a thin, delicate dress. I parked the car and walked slowly toward her. "Why are you sitting out here?" Lily lowered her head and remained silent. I rubbed her head helplessly. "Are you mad at me?" "Huh," she replied petulantly. "Well, what are you angry about?" I sat down beside her. "I have to work. I can't be by your side every second." Lily looked up, staring at me with sudden intensity. "Mister, you don't need to work. I have money. I can give it all to you." The night breeze was a bit chilly, and I couldn't help but shiver. I gave her a small smile. "Your money isn't enough." Lily moved closer and hugged me, her warmth chasing away the cold. "I have so much money. Why isn't it enough?" "Because I want too many things." I pulled her into my lap, looking out toward the horizon where the dim stars flickered. Lily didn't respond. I only felt a soft, warm sensation against my cheek. I froze for a moment, then turned my head to meet her eyes, which were shining as bright as the stars. "I understand," she said. "You can focus on your work. Then from now on, you can't disturb me while I'm working, okay?" Lily thought for a moment before saying, "I'll try." She then took my hand and stood up. "Let's go back inside, mister." It's too cold out here. All right. I followed her. My gaze unconsciously drifted across the ground, and I spotted a few scattered cigarette butts. In the villa, there was only me, Lily, and a live-in cook. During dinner, I casually asked the helper if anyone had stopped by this afternoon. She said no strangers had visited, and she certainly didn't smoke. That left Lily as the only one who could have been smoking. I felt even more certain that she was faking her condition, but I lacked proof. Even if I asked, I knew she would never admit it. I planned to find an opportunity to test her, but before I could, work consumed all my time. A foreign corporation was preparing to enter the domestic market with a massive investment. This was a golden opportunity for us. Naturally, many people were eyeing this lucrative deal, so I had to monitor the situation day and night to try and secure the contract. Consequently, I began staying later and later, and Lily grew increasingly dissatisfied. Every day, at clock-out time, she would call me like clockwork. "Mister, come home." I rubbed my temples, replying helplessly, "I have to work late today." "You don't need to wait up. Go to sleep." Every time this happened, I got the feeling that we were a real married couple, or at least a pair of lovers. Logan, sitting beside me, couldn't help but tease, "Is she telling you to come home again?" I nodded to him. Then Lily's voice came through the phone. "I can't sleep. Can I come find you?" "What are you coming here for?" "I'm working. I'm home all alone. I'm scared." It was already very late, and I realized the helper had likely already left for the day. If she really was simple, leaving her home alone was indeed a bit dangerous. "Fine. Dress warmly, and I'll have an assistant pick you up." "Okay." Lily hung up. Logan already had his car keys in hand. "Let me go get her." I knit my brows. "Why so enthusiastic? The company is just starting to take off, and you've been working yourself to the bone. I saw your wife at a gala once before, but she was so surrounded by people I couldn't even get a word in. This time, I finally have a chance to meet her up close. So of course I'm enthusiastic." I couldn't help but laugh. What rich socialite. She's just like a child now. "Fine, go ahead." I sent Logan my location. An hour later, he returned with Lily following closely behind. She was wearing a form-fitting black dress and small black stiletto heels. She walked toward me with a graceful, swaying gait, wrapped her arms around my waist from behind, and rested her chin on my shoulder, nuzzling me gently. "Mister," Logan looked at the scene with a hint of awkwardness and quickly averted his gaze. "Ahem, you two talk. I'll be back in a bit." I also felt my face heat up at this sudden intimacy and couldn't help but gently push her away. "Be good. This is an office. You have to be a little mindful." "But there's no one here." Lily refused to let go, pressing even closer. That sentence made me freeze. Lily loved to cling to me. Initially, I just thought of her as a child, so her desire for physical closeness didn't seem strange. But ever since she kissed my cheek that night, and I found the cigarette butts on the ground, I began to lose track of whether this intimacy was innocent affection or a romantic spark between a man and a woman. Her subconscious remark about no one being around seemed to imply that she viewed these actions as something private and adult. Could a 5- or 6-year-old child really understand that? "Mister, are you angry?" Lily kissed my cheek again. "No. Can you go sit over there for a while? My friend and I need to discuss business. You can play games on your phone." I settled her into a seat and went out to meet Logan. Logan approached me immediately. "Is she really simple?" I knit my brows. "Why do you ask?" "I want to pick her up." But from start to finish, she only nodded at me. She didn't say a single word. She acted completely normal, exactly like when I saw her at that gala. I couldn't help but turn back to look at Lily. The white office lights shone down on her, highlighting her perfectly sculpted features. Her long, pale fingers tapped the phone screen occasionally. Truly, she looked no different from anyone else. "It's just because she doesn't like to talk," I blurted out, pushing Logan toward our meeting. The bidding for the investment project began, and our main competitor was the Liu family. Since it wasn't convenient for me to appear in person, I had Logan go in my stead. Although we didn't hold much hope due to the massive gap in resources, we unexpectedly won the bid. The Liu family representative that day was Celine. According to Logan, Celine was furious, so the road ahead for our company likely wouldn't be easy. I thought for a moment. Securing this project meant everything to our company. We couldn't let it slip away. Celine wasn't particularly bright to begin with. Furthermore, if Lily was indeed faking her condition, Celine probably had a mountain of her own problems to worry about. At this point, she wasn't a major threat. Therefore, I decided to ignore Celine for now and focus on finding a way to test Lily. After thinking it through, I decided to pretend to be drunk. Coincidentally, Logan organized a staff party to celebrate winning the bid, and I attended. Throughout the entire evening, Lily called me repeatedly, but I didn't answer. As the party wound down, I intentionally spilled some liquor on my clothes so that I reeked of alcohol. It was nearly dawn when everyone finally dispersed, and only then did I slowly pick up the phone. Lily's voice sounded incredibly pained and aggrieved. "Mister, I'm scared of the dark. I'm too afraid to sleep. Where are you?" I looked around, intentionally stammering. Under the streetlights, there was a long silence on the other end of the line before her voice suddenly turned cold. "You're drunk." I slurred my words for effect. "No, I can still drink more. Stay right where you are. I'm coming to get you." She hung up. I marveled to myself at how quickly her attitude had shifted. She really is faking it. With acting skills like that, it's a crime she isn't an actress. Less than 20 minutes later, a black Maserati screeched to a halt right in front of me. Lily stepped out from the driver's seat and walked up to me. "Are you feeling sick?" I nodded. "A little, tiny bit." Lily helped me into the passenger seat, buckled my seatbelt, and stared at me for a moment. "You drank too little. Next time, drink more, and you won't feel so uncomfortable." I frowned at her. Usually, she acted as sweet and innocent as a white rabbit, but now she was starting to make biting remarks. Lily let out a frustrated laugh and grabbed my chin. "Are you pouting at me now?" "I'm not pouting," I replied irritably. Fine. You aren't." She turned back to the driver's seat and began driving with expert skill. Sitting beside her, I contemplated whether I should expose her. Lily faking her condition surely had nothing to do with me. As long as I confirmed she was pretending, I wouldn't have to worry about Celine, because Lily certainly wouldn't let her sister get away with anything. So, exposing her seemed unnecessary. But if she wasn't actually simple-minded, did that mean that when the time was right, she would choose to divorce me and go back to her white moonlight, Tristan? If so, why did she keep kissing me, hugging me, and saying such suggestive things? Was it all intentional? What a heartless woman. I've been played, everyone. The more I thought about it, the more indignant I became, failing to notice we had already arrived home. I only snapped out of it when Lily opened the car door to help me out. I looked at her. "Oh, so you're actually going to help me? Why didn't you let Tristan help you last time?" Lily was already annoyed, and hearing that, she immediately let go of my arm. I huffed and said nothing more. Once we reached the bedroom, I suddenly blocked her path, tilting my chin up to look her in the eye. "Choose me, or choose Tristan." She was momentarily speechless. "What on earth are you babbling about?" I reached out and pulled Lily into my arms. "Yeah, so what if I want to hold my own wife? You're always the one initiating the hugs. Can't I be the one to do it for once?" Thinking back, since the day we got married, it really had been her initiating the physical contact every single time. Usually, she acted so docile and obedient. Now, thinking I was completely wasted, she had dropped the act and was taking the opportunity to settle scores with me. "You're not hugging me? Are you turning away so Tristan can hug you instead?" As soon as the words left my mouth, I regretted them. I definitely must have been drunk. Why was I saying things like that? Lily couldn't help but laugh. "He only came over once, and you're already this jealous?" "I'm not jealous." I looked her in the eye, deciding it was time to lay all the cards on the table. "Lily, you've actually recovered, haven't you? You've been faking this simpleton act from the very beginning, right?" Lily didn't even flinch. "Yes." She admitted it that bluntly. Wasn't she afraid I would ruin her plans? We stared at each other in silence for a long time until I finally let out a sigh. "Fine. So, by the time you've settled all your affairs, my company should be stable as well. Let's sign the divorce papers." The smile on Lily's face vanished instantly. "We've only been married for half a year, and you're already planning the divorce? Don't you want to be with me?" Her gaze dropped slowly, landing on my lips. "We've been married for 6 months. A kiss shouldn't be a problem, right?" Before I could even react, her lips met mine. Her gentleness, mingled with the lingering scent of alcohol, began to swallow my senses. After a long moment, Lily finally pulled away, her warm breath fanning across my hand. "I have no intention of divorcing you. Don't you dare think about it ever again." In the days that followed, Lily stopped pretending to be simple-minded in front of me. An increasingly subtle, electric atmosphere grew between us. Having zero experience in romance, I found myself blushing constantly whenever she teased me. Once Lily realized this, she became even more emboldened. For instance, she insisted on wearing provocative nightgowns and sleeping in my arms. No matter how many times I pushed her away, I would wake up the next morning to find her snuggled against me. Or when I wanted to change and told her to leave the room, she would quietly hug me from behind. Back then, I just had to turn my head while you changed. "Why are you kicking me out now?" she'd whisper. And where she used to say, "Good night, mister," she now started saying, "Good night, hubby." I had to admit it, though I didn't know exactly when it happened. I was falling for her. However, Tristan remained a thorn between us. Even though I had no prior history with Lily, she and Tristan shared a long, storied romance. I had heard enough fragments to piece it together. Tristan was an illegitimate son. During high school, through some twist of fate, he met Lily. She was won over by his kindness and persistence, and they became soulmates. While Lily was studying abroad during university, Howard brought Celine into the household, officially giving her the title of the second young miss of the Lou family. Rumor had it that Celine pursued Tristan for a while as well. Whether out of genuine affection or mere desire to spite Lily was unclear. Tristan remained unmoved. He even took a gap year from school to travel abroad just to confess his feelings to Lily. When the two families agreed to their engagement, Tristan finally returned home satisfied. Lily's engagement party had been incredibly lavish. After she posted about it on social media, it became the talk of the town for quite a while. People were amazed that the rich heiress falls for the poor boy trope actually existed. Tristan had been very public and flamboyant about his love for her. Their journey spanned from high school all the way through graduation. In contrast, my relationship with Lily lacked that intense history of pursuit or grand gestures. It felt much more mundane. I couldn't help but wonder, once everyone discovers Lily has recovered and Tristan's parents stop opposing the union, will her heart really stay with me? I didn't find the answer until 6 months later. During those 6 months, Lily maintained her image as a simple-minded girl in front of the world. No one bothered her, and no one cared. Meanwhile, my company continued to thrive. Shortly after that bidding war, Celine was involved in a car accident. I saw it in a news headline. Celine, driving under the influence, had killed one person and injured 2 others. Very quickly, an official announcement was made stating that Celine had only been in the passenger seat. The drunk driver was supposedly a friend of hers, who was promptly arrested. Following that incident, Celine kept a low profile for half a year. When news of her finally resurfaced, once again in the headlines, it was to announce that Celine and Tristan were engaged. The wedding was set to take place in 1 month. When I walked into the room, Lily was staring blankly at a photo of the two of them on her computer. I stroked her hair. "Why do you look so upset?" Lily immediately sat on my lap. "What are you babbling about?" I glanced casually at the computer screen. "Do you think Celine will invite us to the wedding?" "Of course. She's probably dying to see this hurt you." "Oh," I replied. "Then what kind of gift should we prepare?" "You don't need to worry about that. I've already taken care of it." "Right? Then I'm going to bed first. You keep browsing." Lily kissed my forehead. "Good night, hubby." I walked out silently, a bitter jealousy spreading wildly through my heart. I didn't want to be anyone's replacement, and I certainly didn't want to be the second choice. For the next month, I acted very distant toward Lily. She was incredibly busy herself, often staying in her study until midnight, so she didn't have time to notice the subtle shift in my attitude. As the wedding day approached, I received a call from Celine. "Brother-in-law, did you get the invitation?" "I did. Good. Remember to bring my sister. Grandfather wants to see her too." I couldn't help but find ironic. Lily couldn't even attend her own wedding ceremony back then. No wonder she had to fake being simple-minded. Howard's favoritism was truly excessive. "Are you awake?" In the morning, a soft voice called out as a flurry of kisses fell upon my face. I tilted my head to avoid them. "This is the first time I've seen you up so early. My sister is getting married. I have to get up early to give her a big gift." I had almost forgotten. Today was the wedding of Celine and Tristan. "I know. I'm getting up." I suppressed the displeasure in my heart and sat up. Lily gently tugged my arm, causing me to fall back against her chest. "What's wrong? Are you unhappy, hubby? Why aren't you saying anything? It took you a whole month to notice I'm unhappy? Isn't that a bit late?" I've been so busy preparing the gift lately. Once today is over, I'll make it up to you, okay? Yeah, okay, I replied subconsciously. I didn't want to get into it with her so early in the morning. Lily likely sensed I was avoiding her, so she hugged me tight and showered me with kisses. Mr. Hubby, she called me every name she could think of. My mood improved slightly. I'm going to get changed. Your suit is in the wardrobe, she said. I opened the wardrobe to find a bespoke, high-end suit waiting for me. Although my family hadn't been poor in the past, a luxury suit of this caliber was something I truly couldn't afford on my own. Once everything was ready, I slowly made my way downstairs. When I looked up, I saw Lily leaning against the doorframe, waiting for me. She was wearing a brand new haute couture gown, her makeup exquisitely done. Her skin was strikingly pale, almost translucent, likely from staying indoors for so long. This was the first time I had seen Lily truly dressed up. Even though I've seen many celebrities, this was the first time I felt someone was so beautiful they looked like they had stepped right out of an anime. But then the thought hit me. Was she dressing this beautifully to give Celine a big gift? Or was it to impress Tristan? Lily also stared at me, dazed for a long time. When our eyes met, my heart was a chaotic mix of excitement and bitterness. I couldn't quite put my feelings into words. As soon as I reached the bottom of the stairs, Lily lunged into my arms. Don't I look beautiful today, mister? In the large mirror nearby, our reflection stood out. My black suit and her pure white dress created a harmonious contrast. When we arrived at the wedding, the guests were already settled. Lily confidently took my hand and led me inside. Countless gazes shifted toward us, followed by a wave of hushed whispers. Many people looked ready to come over and greet us, but Lily didn't look left or right. She simply held my hand and headed straight for Grandfather Lou. Grandfather Lou looked frail, his back hunched as he leaned on a cane, sitting quietly amidst the crowd. If not for the clearly expensive cane, I wouldn't have guessed this ordinary-looking old man was the founder of the Lou Corporation. Grandfather, this is Leo, my husband. Lily sat me down next to him, not even sparing a glance at Howard. Grandfather Lou didn't seem surprised by Lily's sudden recovery. He simply nodded in acknowledgement. Oh, indeed. Just as I heard. Thank you, Grandfather, I replied politely. I couldn't stop myself from glancing at Howard, whose face was thunderous. Have you recovered from your illness, or have you lost your mind? Howard barked. To see your grandfather and not even greet him. How disrespectful. Before Lily could react, the music began. Celine, draped in a pristine white wedding gown, walked in with a radiant smile. Tristan followed in a black tuxedo. As he passed us, his footsteps faltered. His eyes locked onto Lily, his expression frozen, as if his soul had been transported elsewhere. I didn't dare look at Lily. I was terrified that if I saw them sharing a longing gaze, I wouldn't be able to stop myself from flipping the table. Suddenly, a small, soft hand took mine and squeezed gently. Lily whispered in my ear, Mister, I've been thinking about it for a long time. Let's have another wedding ceremony of our own. My heart, which had been dangling precariously in midair, was suddenly embraced by those simple words and settled gently back on a solid ground. I gripped her hand and nodded. Up on the stage, Celine had taken her place, but Tristan's eyes never stopped following Lily. He had clearly realized she was back to her old self, and he looked like he was struggling to stay in his seat. Just as they were about to exchange rings, a group of police officers suddenly stormed in. They marched straight toward Celine and, without a word of discussion, immediately snapped handcuffs on her wrists. In an instant, the wedding atmosphere dissolved into absolute chaos. The room erupted in a roar of shocked whispers and angry shouts, while the frantic flashing of reporters' cameras created a blinding, disorienting scene. Lily and Grandfather Lou, of course, remained completely unfazed. They occasionally took calm sips of their tea, their expression serene as they enjoyed the spectacle. I couldn't help myself. I leaned in close to Lily and whispered, Is this the gift you said you had for Celine? Yes, but this is only the beginning. The bigger gift is still to come, hubby. Grandfather Lou looked at us, whispering, and chuckled softly. All right, Lily, come see me tomorrow. I won't stay here to watch this mess any longer. As we saw Grandfather Lou off, Lily glanced at me. Are you tired? Let's go home. Didn't you say there was a bigger gift? Lily couldn't help but laugh, clutching my arm as she led me out. You really do love a good show, don't you? The bigger gift isn't here. We have to go home to see it. Suddenly, Tristan's voice rang out from behind us. Lily, why didn't you come find me once you recovered? Turning around, I saw his eyes were bloodshot. I thought to myself, that performance deserved a 98. Lily, if I had known you were better, I never would have agreed to marry Celine, no matter how much my family pressured me. We're already married, I interjected. Tristan winced as he looked at me. But you married her when she wasn't in her right mind. That doesn't count as a real marriage. Lily shrugged. The marriage registry office says otherwise. Tears finally spilled from Tristan's eyes. It was so dramatic I almost wanted to applaud and say, cool story, bro, but you lost. Lily, are you just angry because I was marrying Celine? Tristan pleaded. You know what my family is like. They gave me no choice. Years ago, I dropped out of school and flew to America just for you. You know that from beginning to end, I have always firmly chosen you. Tristan, do you really think I'm that stupid? Lily's voice was like ice. When Celine first pursued you, you never once rejected her. Do you have any idea how many private photos of the two of you she sent me? Did you really think she would keep your secrets? As for flying to America to find me, that was your parents' idea because they thought I would inherit the family fortune. What's all this talk about firmly choosing me? From the very start, the only thing you've ever firmly chosen is money. Tristan stood there, completely stunned and speechless. Lily nudged me, noticing I was enjoying the drama. You're just watching a show? Wanted to get you some sunflower seeds to snack on. I smiled and took her hand as we walked out, unable to resist poking fun at the juicy rumors. So, Tristan cheated on you the moment you went abroad? You got played, huh? Lily looked at me with a look of mock helplessness. Think whatever you want. And yet you still stayed with him for a year over there? Me going to school was my business. If he wanted to stay, what could I do to stop him? But you even got engaged to him. That was all just to make Celine miserable. And here I was, thinking you were just a simple, innocent girl. In front of you, I always will be. I was speechless. The next day, Lily and I sat at the desk, watching the breaking news about the Lou Corporation's bankruptcy. Celine had been arrested. Someone had provided the police with evidence regarding the previous drunk driving incident. It turned out the real driver was indeed Celine. Howard had used his money and influence to find a scapegoat. Overnight, the Lou empire crumbled. It turned out Howard had always harbored deep resentment over being a live-in son-in-law. He carried a grudge against Lily's mother, Lily herself, and even the old man. Even the death of Lily's mother was likely tied to Howard. After Lily returned to the country, Celine had orchestrated the car accident. Lily used that very incident to counterattack, pretending to be brain damaged while secretly pulling the strings to turn the corporation into an empty shell. Everything had gone according to plan, except for me. I was the only variable. Lily soon re-emerged in the public eye as the CEO of a major foreign firm. At a corporate partnership meeting, she appeared in a sharp, high-collared black suit. It was only then I realized that the foreign company I had been working with all along was actually run by her. On the way home, I let out a long sigh, and I thought I landed that first big contract on my own merit. Turns out I just traded my body for it. If that's the case, maybe you should withdraw your capital, Lily teased. After all, your body is part of your strength. She looked at me and laughed. I'm also a part of your strength. I looked at the traffic light and couldn't help but lean over to kiss her. Behind us, cars honked impatiently. Lily giggled and begged me to let go. Just then, my phone started vibrating incessantly. It was my father. I thought about it for a second and then turned the phone off. Why aren't you answering? No need. I already know what he's going to say. You just want me to be a good boy and make sure you get pregnant as soon as possible. Lily's face turned bright red. If you want to then... I went silent for a moment. I want to focus on running the company well first. I'm not thinking about having children for the time being. I don't want our children to be brought into this world as a tool for someone's interests. Lily, do you mind? I don't mind, Lily replied, looking at me earnestly. Whatever you want to do, I will support you unconditionally. Yeah, but what about my father? How will you explain it to him? I'll tell him whatever I want. I don't care. I'll just say you're incapable of doing it. Lily blanked for a second, her eyes scanning me up and down. You're not actually broken, are you? Without a word, I scooped her up and carried her into the house. I suppose we'll have to practice to find out. Besides, looking at you, I've wanted to practice for a long time. The Lou Corporation went bankrupt Celine was imprisoned, and Howard was left penniless, tangled in numerous lawsuits. He tried to reach Lily several times, but he was always rejected. Finally, having lost all sense of shame, he even caused a scene at my office. Howard no longer had his former aura. His suit was torn in places, and he looked disheveled. The first thing he said when he saw me was, "I want to see Lily." "She doesn't want to see you. Leo, don't forget, if it weren't for me, you never would have married her. You should thank me for the life you have today." "Actually, I'm the one who should thank you," Lily said, stepping out from behind me. "That was probably the only good thing you ever did for me, wasn't it? You heartless brat." Howard raged. "She's your sister." He became increasingly agitated, but security quickly restrained him. "I have no sister, and I have no father," Lily said coldly, staring him down. I stepped in front of her and tossed a folder at him. "The fact that we haven't sent you to prison is our final act of mercy. Did you really think your dirty dealings were hidden? If there's a next time, these documents will be posted on every major social media platform. I'm a man of my word." I gave him a firm warning. Howard slumped in defeat and left, completely vanishing from our lives. Once everything returned to its proper orbit, Lily and I held a new wedding ceremony. I held her hand, listening to the officiant read our vows. We exchanged rings. The ring I had prepared for Lily was exquisite and luxurious, yet I couldn't help a small spark of jealousy. "Is Tristan's ring bigger, or is the one I bought you bigger?" I asked pointedly. Lily looked annoyed. "He never even bought me a ring." "Don't joke." Back at the engagement, the news was everywhere. You can still find the headlines. "Really? Let me see." Lily took the phone, scrolled through for a bit, and then burst out laughing. "Hubby, look closer. This lavish ring in the photo was actually one I bought myself to save face for the family. He didn't spend a dime. And this one you gave me," she kissed my cheek, "is the only one that matters." Lily immediately searched for it on her phone. This was a gift from my friend. "Since when did Tristan buy this?" "Hubby, don't be mad. I'll go sell it right now and use the money to buy you a car, just to spite him." Her dead serious expression made me burst out laughing. I leaned in and kissed her. Suddenly, the sound of my father coughing came from behind us, making me jump. Lily, not worried at all, greeted him calmly. "Hello, uncle. I have a few words for Leo." I walked toward him coldly. My company's reputation had been growing lately. My father surely knew. As expected, before I even reached the door, he began his interrogation. "Who gave you permission to work outside the family business?" I cut him off. "I suggest you think carefully before you speak. I'm no longer the Leo you can order around at your whim. You never fulfilled your duties as a father, so don't act like you have any authority over me now." Through Lily's and my maneuvers, his company had long since become a hollow shell. He had likely come here to beg for my help, yet he still tried to stand on his high horse. "Yes, I was wrong," he stuttered, "but through Lily's connections, you can help me rebuild. As a form of repayment, help me. How many years has it been?" I raised my hand and began to count. "Was it 3 or 6? My mother begged you for 6 years just to acknowledge me. How about you try begging me for 6 years and see what happens?" Later, Lily asked me when I actually started liking her. Countless memories flashed through my mind. Those clear, dark eyes looking at me shyly during our first meeting. Her body trembling slightly as she leaned her head against my shoulder, and the time she secretly kissed me under the starry sky. I thought for a moment and answered her, maybe it was the very first time we met. My heart skipped a beat even then. And with every second since, it has only grown deeper.